Welcome back, SpeakuP Monday. We had a few technical hitches to begin with, and people here that clearly can't count, but that's okay. So SpeakuP Monday, Destination Indonesia. We're here every Monday, 6:30 at Tropical Nomad, and we're approaching episode number 300. Round of applause!
Yeah!
So you can be part of this studio audience that we have. We have good fun, good times, great for networking and meeting new people which are aligned to the vision of what SpeakuP Monday is about, which has two roots. One is the fact that people inspire people. That's number one. And number two is unity and diversity. So we're here in Indonesia, in Bali to be exact. The motto of Indonesia is Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, which is unity and diversity. So each show that we do, you'll find those two, Ethan's like, what? So you will find those two common themes running through. And what we do, because people do ask, how do I get on the show? So we basically do 12 weeks at a time. And in that time, we ensure that we get a good mix of men, women, Indonesian, expat, and so on, from different backgrounds, ideologies, and so on. We've had from government to business, entrepreneurs, to the creative industry, blockchain, all the way through to coaching, speaking, and authors of wonderful books. So without further ado, as I mentioned, my name is Robert Ian Bonnick, the tourism architect. I'd like to introduce you tonight to my guest, our brother Ethan Auguste. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone.
Right. Now, Ethan, so this show has been going for about 4 years, right? I've known Ethan for about 3 years. I don't want to roast him in public, but sometimes you just have to, you know what I mean? 3 years, and he's finally come on the show. So mate, well done. And for those of you who don't know Ethan, he's a beautiful, incredible human being, and Thrive. So this Thrive, what I call a movement, really, a platform that is really, it's running to be, the world's largest community and platform for the creative industry, which I think is a phenomenal thing to do, which includes blockchain and all of those things as well, right? Already in the vision. And look, you put on the most amazing events, keeping alive this Caribbean culture. That obviously, that's where I'm from, Jamaica. You're from Trinidad and Tobago. So there's things we have in common. We're neighbors, right? So he has all of these wonderful attributes to you. And for the first time tonight is, I guess, the first time that you're allowing yourself to be interviewed, to go deep, to find out, we know what you do, but who are you, right? We want to find out what is underneath this wonderful exterior of this very cool, laid-back, kind of charming man from Trinidad and Tobago. So that's why we're here tonight. In the next hour or so, that's what we'll be doing. So look, probably the first question that comes up for me, so the people who don't know, how would you describe Thrive? And we've already mentioned what it's aiming to do, but how would you describe it in your own words?
Basically, for me, Thrive is a hub of creatives, and it's a support platform that basically the goal is to remove as many walls as possible that prevents creatives to create and export their talents globally.
Wonderful.
In a nutshell.
Got it. I love that. Very succinct, very tight. Love it, Ethan. So look, there are other people who are probably wondering, all right, so I get the mission, but why are you doing it? Because it's been like 18 years since your first company, which was an event company. 18 years ago that this journey started for you. So how did it start 18 years ago?
Technically, next week, I'll be celebrating 18 years since the first company was created. And basically, I need to stop saying basically. Anyway, first time, everyone, so, don't judge me. So did it again. Anyone has a counter? Maybe count how many times I say basically for the whole thing.
So look, this is what we'll do, right? So the amount of time he says basically, we'll add it up. Then at the end, we'll make sure that he has to pay a toll or something that will go to charity, or if it's kura kura, I said it. Maybe it might be in beer. Okay, go for it.
Okay, so I've not really noticed that connection and relationships was important in life, right? So I was in a mall. My sister was shopping in this girl store, and the owner is very pleasant. So I was like, we connected, and then every few weeks I would go and say hi. One week in particular, which will be like this week, technically, 18 years ago, and may she rest in peace, she was opening a new store. And she was telling me that she wanted to have like face painters and clowns and all the hoo-ha and all that stuff. And I was like, cool, my brother and my cousin does that for a company, so I hook you up. On the ride home, I was saying to myself, why don't I do it? Like, I just have to get the face paints and get my family to do it. And that weekend, I was working in a cinema. And for me, I spoke to everyone from the security to the owner to the directors. So I spoke to my friend who is the marketing director. It's like, yo, can I do some face painting outside? For it was Indian Arrival weekend, which is a public holiday in Trinidad. And she was like, yeah, sure. We set up shop that weekend, like legit that weekend of talking to my friend, and created like little business cards and all that fun stuff, and a company was born. From then, like, you learn a lot, and other opportunities, came, and I just never said no. So, wow, I just froze.
Yeah, here's the interesting thing. Like when you're doing this, and it's live, not to freak you out anymore, but what happens is that sometimes like you have this this moment where you either forget where you are,
yeah,
or you don't have the words, right? And in life, in a way, we're kind of taught, if you're silent, it's a problem. It's like, well, if you're silent, like, oh. But actually, it's the biggest blessing in disguise, because it gives the audience time to actually acknowledge, understand, appreciate, integrate what you've just said. Mm-hmm. And then it also gives you, like, this higher part of Ethan, like, time as well to actually kind of figure out what's important, So when I'm, for example, asking questions, I don't write anything down, as you know, as anyone knows who's been here. But what I do is I just tap into that, right? So all I have to do is just to remain open, because the questions don't come from me, they come through me. And that's what happens when you're doing something that you love to do. Like we all notice that, right? When you're doing something that you love to do, it's not an effort. It doesn't come from you. It comes through you.
It's a masterclass, guys.
Right?
Hope you're taking notes.
Yeah. But thank you. Yeah.
The lights, though, it's so hot. Scheiße.
So those of you sitting down are going to say, okay, we're in for one of those interviews.
Oh, don't worry, it's going to be fun.
And you're absolutely right.
So what was your question again?
Yeah. So you're all good. So, like, let's change gear, because we'll get to the same place. Mm-hmm. So, like, if I asked you, because right now, again, you are supporting a whole industry of people around the world, and we'll get into that. But as a kid growing up in Trinidad and Tobago, like, we got the sense of your first event at the age, right, where you asked and you thought, well, hang on a second, I think I can do this myself. And you had the balls to go out and do it and ask the right question to the right people, and you got the yes, and you did it, right? So the question really is, underneath that, is why you? So like, what do you think, if I asked you, what was it in your childhood, right, that led you towards doing that? And I'll give you some time. So
I can answer.
You know? Okay, cool.
So even before that, I was like let me give a backstory with regards to my family. So my late grandmother is a cultural icon in dance and African religion and like culture in general. My mom, she was a model. My father was in media. So basically, and a DJ. So at home, we had like all these lights and props and costumes and all this fun stuff. So I would divide the house into two and created shows, not knowing that that's what I wanted to do, but it was fun. And then basically, okay, I did it. My neighbor was in a school rock band. one day I went and I was like, wow, y'all are epic. You know, like they were doing some Guns N' Roses and Linkin Park. This was 2006. I was like, y'all should play somewhere. And they were like, well, play where? We're in Trinidad. This is rock music. So I created a rock show so they could play. And then in that, I realized that there were friends of ours that also wanted a outlet to perform, because they're basically, you know, performing at home for fun, and then now they have a place that they could, you know, bring their family and friends. And it was, I think, that moment that I realized the importance of having spaces for creatives, and then I eventually managed them. So giving the artist itself the support and the network to elevate. So I was like, what, 20? Yeah, I'm not as young as you may think I am. But it kind of carried me through the whole process of that importance. Because when you do an event or you bring people together, it's like, it's more than money. It's more than, you know, what you get after. It's the connections that are being built. It's the person that is showcasing their feeling, because in most cases it's their first time. And for me, that, I wouldn't say it beats money because you need it, but it's definitely something special.
And why you? So I got that your parents were already connected, right, to the arts, performing, you know, splitting the house up into different areas, doing shows. But it's a step, right? So one is, I want to express myself, right? So creative is, I go out, I be the performer, I be the artist, I do that. And the other one is to say, well, I get what these guys are going through, but I want to support them to be more. So I don't want to be in the spotlight, and I get that about you already. I don't want to be in the spotlight, but I want to push, I want to facilitate and elevate others, right? So where did that, so think a bit more, like deeper. Like when you were younger, like where did that come from, do you think?
To be honest, I think like just being around my grandmother, you know, she will, you know, go to events, you know, shaking hands with the Prime Minister or whoever, and just seeing the power that she had as a female entrepreneur. Self-consciously, I think I picked up things that I didn't even know existed. Like, she was such a powerful woman, from creating jewelry from like clay to painting gowns and designing stuff to, you know, doing her dance, writing 2 books, getting a doctorate while she was still my granny. A very inspirational woman to be around, and I think it came from her. I believe. You know, like it definitely gave me something inside that I didn't know I had. Because I think we spoke about it in 2020 when I was writing the book. And then when I was writing it, I was like, I did not know that I had so much of an influence from her. Because as a kid, you know, you just go with the flow. You know, it's like, yeah, you know, my grandmother's doing a TV show or whatever, or this or whatever. But I think reflecting back on it, it definitely, I think, had a big influence in what made me who I am today. And I think not the network or the experience so much, as in like, why me? Because it's a hard question though, because it's like, you could choose anyone, you know. I'm not perfect, and people will know that. I have my faults, but I do have a passion. And I think if you get to know me a bit more as an investor, friend, or whatever, you will know why I do it and the reason. And I think when you know that, you'll know why me.
Yeah. Interesting. So I was a coach for many years, right? And one of the things which I learned that it was actually in a forum that I thought was brilliant, which I want to share with you, which is, and give you some time to have a glass. By the way, you're doing really well, man. First one, you're good. Sweating a little bit. It's okay, man.
Oh,
you're doing good. He's doing good. He's doing good. So, like, what it is, it's called the clock. So 1 to 12, and you've got like 1 to 2. Let's say this is what I know that I know. I know my name. I know where I'm from. I know where I live. I know how to get home when I get lost. And then from, say 1 to 2. So from 2 to 4 this is the stuff that I don't know. And this can be that, I know that I'm not that good at maths. I'm okay, right? By the way, I'm okay. I'm not that bad, but calculus, that stuff, forget it. It's not going to happen. Applied mathematics is not my forte. So I know that I don't know that. But then the 4 to 12 these are the things that I don't know that I don't know. I'll repeat it. These are things that I don't know that I don't know. Now, these are important because when we have these sorts of interviews that maybe we might find challenging, easy, difficult, whatever it might be. So the answer isn't always there. But what happens is that after this is done, your brain is already looking into that space. And what happens is that the ideas, downloads will actually come as to why you do what you do, be even able to put it into words. Like, I feel you, and I know you, and everyone here does as well. So I know why I know why you do it, right? But it's interesting when we find our own truth to why we do things, it adds even another level of power to what we do, right? But you mentioned something interesting, right? So you mentioned that you're not perfect. By the way, I don't think anyone is. I'm not either. But the qualities, right? So if I would ask you, okay, and we'll get into what you're doing now very soon, and you mentioned your grandmother, who was obviously an incredible woman, and your family is super cool, right? But if someone out there now is maybe looking at this going, I'm in a midlife crisis, even though midlife is 60 now, we can live to 120, right? I'm in a midlife crisis, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, or, I have a feeling that I want to pivot, I want to do something else. Or, I know that what I'm doing now is not really what I was supposed to be doing. So for you, and again, it's all personal, so it's not about right and wrong, it's about what is true for you, right? So which qualities do you think would be important or were important for you to go from that kid in Trinidad and Tobago to where you are now, across the other side of the world, lived in multiple countries, have a huge network, doing incredible events, supporting many, many, many thousands and millions of artists around the world to really showcase their talent. So what happened? Which qualities helped to bring that kid from here to there? What would you say?
I think lack of fear.
Faith?
Fear. Lack of.
Okay.
There's a lot of sayings about it. It's like, just start, or like just do it. Nike, don't sue me. But basically having the quality to look at something, and even if others are saying not to do it because of their own reasons, still being able to do it, not with ego or not with like being stubborn, but you believe that it could work. Because I think no one could really tell if it can't be successful unless you actually do it, and unless you're a psychic, if you believe in that. So, the only way you'll know is if you do it. And I think throughout the years, just doing helped a lot. Yes, there were a lot of failures. And I say failure not with the event itself, but maybe financially. But there were a lot of good that came out of each event. So I think having that ability to just take that step, regardless how old you are, what you knew before, to actually, if you had a passion to do, sewing clothes or whatever, and you've been working in the bank for how many years, trying it out, because that might actually be something that you will like, which means that you enjoy doing it, and then the money will come. So, yeah.
Remember, there's no right or wrong. It's what's true for you. Because people inspire people is all about us sharing our truth with others that then activates or triggers something within other people like, hey, I could do that, or hey, I haven't done that, or hey, I knew there's something else that I should have been doing that I haven't done. I think I should do it now. So when I say self-talk, right, that voice going on inside of all of our heads that we all have going da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So how has your self-talk been over the years? I see you as a person who, I'm an introverted extrovert. People see the extroverted side of me and think, hey, he's an extrovert. I'm not. I'm an introverted extrovert, right? So, and I'm clear with that. I'm happy with that. I'm at peace with that. But if through that sense of self-talk, if I said to you, number one, or asked you, if we add a label to it, are you an introvert or an extrovert? What would you say? That's the first question. And the second part of that is that how has your self-talk been over the years? Where did it come from and where is it now?
Well, I would think that I'm an extrovert, but obviously I do have moments, like everyone, that needs, their time to themselves. I have no problems with that time because, there's a lot of energy. Especially when you are surrounded by a lot of people. You do need to kind of keep yourself, to yourself. Recently, anyway, with regards to the self-talk, like, there is a battle of, am I really doing the right thing? Like, should I do what other people are saying and just get into a stable situation, stop doing what I've always been doing? Like, I have that battle of, okay, is it the stubbornness or ego trying to, like, keep it going because of the things that were done before? So it's been very challenging. It's not easy. Going through that now anyway, also. And I think it has its phases. New country, new challenges and opportunity. It's been like that for the last 14 years. But do I like it? Yes. Yeah. Wow, tough questions.
Yeah. Remember, not from me.
Shit, it's like Oprah.
Is that, question for everybody here. So a raise of hands, be honest. So who here knows what self-talk is? All right? Okay. So who here doesn't know what self-talk is? It's okay if you don't. Yeah. So self-talk, what I'm talking about is that voice inside your head. The one that always seems to have an opinion about things. It might be saying, this is good, this is bad, this is great, shouldn't have done that, that was a mistake, shouldn't have trusted that person, should have gone that way. So this is what I mean by self-talk. So another show of hands. So who here has ever had challenges with their self-talk or inner dialogue? Put your hand up. Yeah. Yeah, so it's pretty much everyone, right? So then, knowing that we all have these challenges, right? Remember, there's no right and wrong. So if I asked you, like, how do you overcome that? Because a lot of us are in events, right? And you're there, you put on the event, you go through all of that transactional process of it after the creative. The creative comes first of, hey, I think we should do this, right? And then we get to the transactional, which is checklist, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then we get to the day, right, of the event. And you're there thinking like, okay, it's raining. Oh, no, right? And it's an outdoor event. Oh, God, what am I going to do? Right? Yeah. So there's a stress that can come, which is like, will people come? It's like for those of you here who don't do events, it's like your birthday party. It is, right? When you're not maybe so much now, maybe now you don't care. I'm looking at some of you like, hey, listen, I'm over 50, I don't care. Or not, right? But even when you're younger, when you have a birthday party, like everyone wants to be cool. Be honest, they want to be cool in some way, shape, or form, that with your birthday party, the people come that you want to come. But you're still there stressing, are they going to come? once they come, and it's like, are they having a good time? Right? And then after that, you're like, did they have a good time? So you get this sense of kind of mild anxiety. When you do events, it's like that, multiplied to the power of 100, depending how many people or how large your event is. So with all of this, so how have you overcome, if you have overcome, or how do you deal with your self-talk?
So when it comes to that, my grandmother used to say, some people already know this already because I've said it already, don't cry over spilled milk. So like that took me, like kept with me for a few decades already. And it was so powerful yet so simple because it's already spilled, right? So now you have the process and be calm and see how to rectify it. Now, my background is also hospitality. So obviously one of the rules is like you don't show everyone that you're having stress in the back house. So keep the smile. I think the island boy comes out, the kind of laid back, like, it's gonna be cool, man, you know. It's like, why are you stressing? Oh, the artist is in traffic, cool. We have some, like, you know, like you could think of other ways of, you know, changing, but I think that helped me a lot. If it's a loss, if it's rain, if it's whatever, it happens. And, you know, will it stop me? No. But, yeah, I think that was very helpful.
You see, here's the thing. When I look at you, and maybe it's true for other people, right? So, okay, we're going to have a raise of hands once more. I won't ask again, which means I'm probably going to ask again. But I won't ask again, right? And he can close his eyes so he doesn't know who's putting their hands up. So, like, who here thinks that Ethan is the kind of guy who is remarkably cool at all times, right? And never looks stressed? Put your hand up. Yeah. So it's more than half of the room, actually most of the room, right? Okay, but you don't know who because there was some who didn't say, right? There you go. All right, they're good people, man. So okay, so then, and this is the last question, and then we'll move forward. So you mentioned before that hospitality, you put a brave face on it, right? And you don't show that to people. You've been in this industry for a long time, you know. For people coming into the industry, because again, you're now at this point where you can mentor other people. So what is your process of creating an event, right? Maybe three bullet points. And then what would you advise them to do when it comes to the event day and not stressing? Like putting a brave face on it. Some people can do it, other people can't. They put a smile and you know that they're faking it. So yeah, so it's true, right? We know it's true, right? So we've got your three steps, right? Process of creating an event, and then advice that you would give to someone who's maybe just coming in, you know, how to deal with that final phase of, you know, I'm really stressed, I'm scared the event might not work as it's supposed to.
I mean, I think some people will agree to disagree. Like, I kind of come up with ideas, sometimes last minute. So there's things also that I'm going to say that maybe not to do. But I mean, it works out in the end, right? But basically, the idea comes, or I see something and I could change it up a bit or whatever. It starts first sometimes on a notepad.
So okay, so that idea, so I ride on my bike and I get ideas. When I'm out, for reason in Bali, and I'm out riding around rice paddies, I get ideas. Just boom, 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 constant downloads come in, and then I execute some of them. So when you say you get ideas, where do the ideas come from? Is there a process that you follow? How do the ideas reach your head or your heart?
I mean, it could be many reasons. If we're looking at a spiritual universal situation, like it just comes. And then I'm like, damn, thanks. Even with names and stuff. But I think it's sometimes where I am at, the country or city, The situation, what I'm seeing that is missing, is the same thing that happened with the Caribbean Vybez. You know, like I got to Dubai working with Emirates, and after 3 months realized that there's no Caribbean music. So I created a Caribbean event. Did I have a plan for it? No, but it just happened. So like when the ideas come from wherever it comes, I have like a stack of notepads and books because I prefer to write first. So like I would just pretty much write the flow, the concept, names, if there are certain names that I want to put in that inside. Then it goes to the computer, and then I try to figure out, okay, the dates. And then, like recently, for example, I'll give you a real life situation. It was last month, yeah, which was April, which is spring break. And basically, the idea came in April to do a spring break event in April. And it was either, okay, do I do it in April, or do I wait and do it next year? The Ethan, that is Ethan, did it in April. With obviously not the best amount of time to market and all of that, but for me, it's more like, you have to do it, because in Bali, things are very last minute anyway. I mean, people could literally catch a VAPS. In Trinidad, it's like catch a feeling, and hop on a boat and go. So you don't know if that will happen. So you want to keep positive and, make it happen. So I think first, like, formulate the idea, see if it makes sense. Do some research. Maybe they have similar ideas out there. See how they do it. See how you can make it a bit better. That will fit the location or better suit your budget or whatever. One of the things that I would say to do and not be me is to make sure you have the money in advance that you could put it off. That's important. Because obviously things happen and you want to be prepared, right? You have your checklist, you get your venue, you choose a date, and then you go ham on advertising and working on sponsors. My issue is that I've not really actually planned an event long enough. Like most of my events, sadly, yet not sadly, have been like within 3 months. So if you do have the team, the money, and you can plan in advance, that's important. What was the third one or second one?
So this is about three.
Yeah.
So one you mentioned was about the idea, the formulation of it. The second one was going more into the checklist, writing it out, getting it all down. And then you mentioned that money would be a good thing if I had planned more ahead of time.
Yeah.
There's a few things that I could get done, and then you're about to go to a number three.
Right. So event day. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. You could do as much as you can before the event. You could have deep pockets. It will not stop what will happen. Like the event that you spoke, like my first main event in Bali in 2019, it rained. Did people say that it's going to rain? Yes, it did. Did I stop? No. But it rained. And obviously, like, the numbers would have been better if it didn't, Shit happens. Can I say shit?
Yep. Just did.
But when these things happen, like, it should not discourage you to do another one. How I look at it is like it's getting good content. So you could, cancel it off as marketing budget. A very expensive one depending on the event. But then now you have that video on pictures and testimonials of something that you actually did. No one really questions how many people you really had. It happened. And then now you could take that to, sponsors or to partners and make the next one a lot better. And I think now, like I remember in Geneva when I was living there, it was Thrive's 4th anniversary or something like that. And I was working with a venue to try and do a celebration. I'm showing them the videos of the Thrive events, and they were like, epic, but we can't use this. I was like, why not? It's like, how could we get the rights to it? I was like, it's my event. Like, he actually thought that it was someone else's event. The same thing in Trinidad. Like, they thought that I just had a license for it. But when you see the videos and the content and all that, yeah, the Dubai, the LA, the whatever, you do believe, well, not because it's not false advertising, but it does appear to be bigger than what it might be. So that content, I think, is the win that you'll get, like, regardless how the event turns out. And if it turns out great, then yeah, smile. You know, pat on your back.
Got it. So look, this will be
one more thing.
Go.
Even if it's 5 people, make sure those 5 people have the best time of their life. Because one of the things I've learned, even with the club events, yes, it's great when you have like the vibe and a lot of people, but if you have 5 people having the best time of their life, they will come back. You know, so see about the people that are actually there. Make sure that they're good and taken care of. Like for spring break, we had about 40 people in a venue that could hold a lot more. So it's like, we have to make sure that their experience is epic and not look at, oh, it's only 40 people. Like, they should not feel that they're, lost in this big space. So it's investing a lot of time in whoever actually comes. And I think you will have a win, regardless.
Got it. So in a minute we're going to go on to J-Lo and all these other wonderful people that you've been working with and so on. But just want to quick raise your hands, and this shows that the audience is still with us. So who here has been to one of Ethan's events? Put your hand up. Okay.
Yay.
Cool. It's about, if you haven't, it's okay. It's like, haven't put my hand up, haven't been yet, it's okay. So, all right, what I want to do is put you on the spot, which is obviously what I do, right? You got that now. So just think of one word that, when you think about Ethan's event, one word that describes your experience. All right, so one word, 2 is okay as well, that described your experience when you were there. So start over here, just shout it out. Yep. Inclusive. Energy. Joy. Unique. Banter. Love that. Love that. Banter. Fun. Energetic and colorful. Extravagant. All right. Anyone else got anything to add? All right. So these are some words, right?
Thanks, guys.
All right. So
I didn't pay them to say that.
Yeah, I know you didn't. I know. So look, there's one last question, because again, like, people know your events, know you through your events, and I would really love people to get to know the intimate side of you, like what makes you tick. So this is the last question, right, on this topic, right? But it's important. So what I see you, right, whenever I've seen you over the last 3 or 4 years, I see the smile, I see the island qualities that you have, because we're the same, we have the same thing, you know. I see sometimes disappointment in your face, but this is behind the smile, right? But what I truly see is someone who just has a resilience in your, like, it feels like a resilience in your DNA. So you'll give a smile, but when you do something, you will not be stopped, is my feeling, which I don't think people really see that often, right? But I see it and I feel it with you. So if I said, number 1, is that true? Is this, or do you think that you have this inner core of just resilient strength, right? Which is there, which won't give up, that just keeps on going no matter what. If the answer is yes, where does it come from?
It's definitely yes. I think even recently, a lot of people say that I do too much. We'll get there, I guess. But for me, I know that each thing that I am working on will happen, because I will make them happen. I think it coming back to my grandmother, I think. Like, she was in her 60s or, 60s getting a doctorate. And I visited her in New York because she was going to NYU. And like with her professor, and I'm like, I mean, you're my granny. You know, like she wrote 2 books and all that. Like she didn't give up, but she also had I saw the support that she got from my grandfather, who allowed her to, you know, be free. And I do appreciate my own family for allowing me to, I guess, be able to continue to do what I want, not want to do, but I believe that I'm here to do. So I think that, like, her helped with that resilience, like wanting to do it, because I see the bigger vision, and like I know it's there and it's so close. It's like that meme with the guy hitting the goal in the cave, and he's like so close and one gives up. Like I feel that, I see it, and for me, turning back it's like everything else would have been in vain. Like right now, Thrive is 9 years. Caribbean Vybez is 13 next month. Like, how could I stop? Anyway, like I can't. I feel I can't. So I think knowing how far, even though it might not be, you know, the typical way of what you look at success, but I think being able to reflect on what was done and still be proud that it happened, and knowing the future of what this could be and not giving up helped with the drive.
Got it, brother.
Yeah.
Man, love that, man. Love that. And so then moving up now to the next, to what you're doing now. So Thrive is moving forwards. And the other day, he shared with me this map, right, like a flow diagram of all these different Thrive ventures, and there's quite a few there. So of the ones that you feel like talking about, in the next 3 months, the next 90 days, you know, what are you working on, and what would you like to see?
Well, right now we launched a magazine, which some of y'all have. It's in the 2nd issue. We're working on the 3rd one now. So I think building that, at least for Bali in terms of print, building the online presence. We started a podcast, so building on that front. We've basically utilizing now the network that was built and giving value through these epic people, you know, the Grammy winners and stuff. I am working on an expo, which will happen this year. And basically, if those that know, like South by Southwest, it's basically South by Southwest, but in Bali. And for me, I think that will help build Bali as a content creator home and creative hub, which it's already is, and I see it being like that second LA, but a nicer one. No offense to people from LA, because nothing's wrong with LA. But I think I'm not sure if I could say the other stuff here because it's still in the works. But yeah, basically building the community here, building the ability for people to feel that they're being showcased. We're working on Thrive Talents. Basically, I don't even know what number we're on with basically now. But again, utilizing the network that's out there and the talents that are here. So actually picking the best of the lot, from models to actors to singers, dancers, and placing them in places that will elevate them. So that's the goal for this year.
Got it. So now I've got 2 more questions, and then it goes to you. So if you have any questions in your mind that you'd like to ask Ethan, just raise your hand, not yet, in about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll get the 3rd microphone around to you. And when you get the microphone, just remember to put it every week we say it, but every week someone's like,
oh, I know what it is.
Microphone somewhere near your mouth is really good. All right, so we'll get to you. So just think about a question. So then there might be some people here who don't necessarily know the scope of what Thrive is doing, right? So maybe you could spend a little bit of time just explaining to people the different aspects of what Thrive is doing so they get an idea about that. And then also, if you want to fuse it in between, so you've worked with quite a few famous people that always are good for people to kind of know just how long you've been doing this, what kind of global connections you actually have, and that you've brought and bringing to Bali. And yeah, that will be enough. There's one other question about Bali, but I'll ask you that later. So to summarize again, the different aspects of Thrive so people get an idea of the broad and the scope and the vastness of what you're doing. And also, while you're doing that, feel free to drop a couple of names that people might know, because, that kind of helps to kind of put it into people's mind, like, oh, right, he's worked with that one. Okay, this guy is up to stuff. All right, so I'll leave it to you.
All right, so so after doing the rock shows in Trinidad, I was already living in Dubai and felt like I wanted to create something cool. So I started something. I was in Australia because I was working with Emirates, and the word fame came in my head: fashion, art, media, entertainment. So I was like, that is cool. So basically created like this Facebook page, because working with Emirates, there are a lot of beautiful people, right? And I had a lot of inquiries for like models, for different things. So I was like, create a Facebook group, and you could find them there. So I changed it. It was networking in Dubai, and then changed it to Fame. I had some partners with Fame, did not work out the way I wanted. So a few months after that, Thrive came into the picture. My friend actually woke me up, and he was like, Thrive. I was like, yeah, that's it. And the idea was basically, how do I get different creatives in one space? Because if you have a live music event, people that are interested in live music, they will come. If you have a fashion event, people interested in fashion will come. But if you want everyone to kind of meet each other, how do you do it? So I decided to do a weekly event in Dubai and call it Thrive Industry Night, which is Thrive In. And that's basically how it started. It was like a night where we had fashion, we had art, we had music, and sometimes we had film. So starting that, this was now 9 years ago, I lost my chain of thought again.
No, you're okay. So we've got this thriving in the middle,
right?
And then the different aspects of Thrive that you're up to.
Got you. So over time, living in Dubai, you get to meet a lot of people. Because I started Caribbean Vybez, most of the artists that came that were Caribbean, from Sean Paul to Shaggy, the promoters will speak to me, because I had the network and the community to bring the people out. So building a relationship with these guys was very valuable, because for them, they're like a Caribbean brother in the Middle East. You connect a lot differently than someone else. Over time, I met J-Lo's dancers, which changed my life, basically. Changed my life. I basically took them out. I was a party promoter, and I was like, let's go out clubbing. Spoke to my friend who had a night. Shout out, Kit. I think you were probably there. So I had my little car, and I had like the musical director of J-Lo, the dancers and band, those that could have fit, in my car going to the club. And we had a blast. The next day was the show, so they invited me, and it was also epic, J-Lo. Shout out Jay. And that's when I first met J-Lo. They came back the next year. I kept in touch with some of them throughout the few months, and they messaged and said like, yo, we're coming back, but for a week. So I met up with them. We were together for the whole week. It was a lot of fun. And they were like, Ethan, what you do here, you should come to LA and do. So I moved to LA the next month, only knowing them. My sister's ex-boyfriend, who I stayed with for a month. Moving to LA definitely showed me the power of connection. Because everyone that you met, especially the ones that were introduced to you, was a somebody that could, connect you with someone else too. So that 6 months experience, and I did an event in LA, because why not? When in LA, you do an event. And I had the NBA call me. They were like, we have some basketball players coming. I was like, sorry, what? I was so confused. Because there was like a TV show, Basketball Wives. So like some of the wives and the basketball players were there. And then I'm seeing like an actor that I knew. And I was like, what is this place? And I obviously, like, I don't get starstruck. Like, Dubai taught me different. Like, you don't show that side, because then you don't connect with them anyway. But it was very interesting, like you sit down on a table. My friend introduced me to his friend, who was the stylist for Jamie Foxx for like 10 years. She became my best friend in LA, and we're having lunch. We're overhearing a conversation with some football player or something, and the publicist about sneakers. So she was like, oh, I could help you. And we started to have a conversation, and it so happened that she was in Cannes on the same table some time ago. Her friend and partner is my business partner now still. And she's like an award-winning publicist with like epic contacts and stuff like that. And it just happened through like a turn back situation. So it really, I think at that point I knew about connection and collaboration and relationships and stuff, that it was easier to connect with these people. But like, we did something with SONY, and this I think was, even for me, very strange. In Trinidad, for those that don't know, our music is mostly soca and calypso, and rock, hip hop, R&B, like techno type stuff, Major Lazer, is not that known. So my friend actually shared one of his songs, and I was like, this shit is epic. And I was like, this should not be just in Trinidad, because it will not be heard. So I knew a guy in Dubai that basically were like the Major Lazers of the Middle East, and they were signed with Universal. And in my thought process, I was like, maybe they could do a remix, and then we see where it goes. He listened to it. He was like, wow, is this thing signed? I was like, signed to who? Like, I wasn't even in that realm of things. He was like, yeah, it was signed with a label. I was like, well, no. He's like, all right, let me introduce you to SONY. I was like, sorry, what? We had an email with the GM of SONY, and they were like, the whole office loves it. We want to sign a distribution deal. I was like, come again? So like, it legit happened so fast, and it basically changed the artists in Trinidad. Because in them, and it's the same in Bali, it's basically like you have that small island mentality where you feel this is the only space that you could be in. So in Trinidad, it's more like, shit, I could actually go out of Trinidad. I don't have to conform to the soca and the reggae and the calypso just to make a living. So when they saw him, Calpi, shout out, actually, being signed with SONY and doing very well on Spotify and YouTube and millions of views and all that fun stuff, they got motivated. Coming back to Trinidad was very hilarious because they thought I was Simon Cowell. But I was like, yo. But what I told everyone, which is the truth, it's like, one, going through that process, it's like, if your music is not of quality, like if you cannot hear your sound next to a Justin Bieber and a Beyonce on the radio, you're not ready. Because that's what they look for. So it was a lot of lessons that people had to learn, but at least it gave a lot of hope There's a lot of great artists that are doing very well now in Trinidad. I'm very happy for all of them because even in the acting realm, like we had one actor in the Black Panther, and that was like a big thing because yeah, we're a small island. So anytime we get like a creative getting their flowers or whatever you want to call it, it gives hope to like that small island boy that wants to sing opera, but in a place where they don't allow it.
Love it.
You know.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love that aspect of you, mate, which is entirely supportive of, changing the script. Right? You mentioned Trinidad Tobago is all about soca.
Yeah.
So through your actions, what you managed to do is to recreate and move the dial, right? And so people can be, open, right? And accepting of other styles and for those styles to do really, really well. I love that. So now, questions. So, Guzman, if we have the third microphone, and anyone's got a question, please raise your hand, and we'll get you that microphone. No question is off the books. Oki's got one, Carol's got one, Brother Sam's got one. I can't wait to hear your question. All right. So while we get that over there, so Thrive. So what you've got with Thrive is that you've got an events division, you've got a magazine division, you've got another division which is to do with blockchain, startups, all of that side as well. What else?
Keep creating.
Keep
which
creating.
Is the online store, and still not launched yet, but it's coming. It's
Okay.
coming. It's one of those babies that still in infant stage, but basically, again, it's creating that ecosystem. So you have the community. Now you have a platform that they could buy their music instruments, their cameras, their lights, their all that fun stuff, and then the talent agency, Thrive Talents. And a few other things, like sometimes it's like shit.
I know that.
What are they?
When you sent it to me, I was like, damn, that's a lot. So I think Oki was the first, and then we moved along to Carol, and then back to Sam after that. And just before you ask your question, so what's the best place for people to find you? If they're looking to see what Thrive is up to, what's the best platform? Where can they find you?
I think Instagram, Facebook, keep thriving. That's thriving with the I-N, not G. Have to be different, But actually, Thrive In came from Industry Night. So I just basically took the I and the N, yeah. But it also means like Thrive International Network.
Got it. So then for Thriving, you're saying that the Thrive, then I-N at the end on Instagram. For those who want to know more, that's where you go, right?
That's
beautiful.
One of the spots, yeah.
So to give you a little update, so we like to keep these to about an hour. So probably got another 5 or 6 minutes or so to go, and then after that, we'll say goodbye to the people at home watching online, and then you can ask your real questions. It's like private session.
No pressure.
Right? No pressure. Well, a private session, the cameras are off, you're good, right? So we have a private session afterwards in which you can ask the private questions, followed by, if you want to have some time with Ethan, we'll have a little bit of time for that. He's not going to run away. We'll chain him to the chair, so he can't go anywhere, and he has to ask people and answer people's questions. So so that's what we have in store. So over to you, Brother Oki.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Ethan, I think amazing story. I think I would like us to give a round of applause to Ethan for his amazing story. So, my name is Oki Ethan. I live in Bali, a friend of Rob. Just recently met, maybe a couple of months, but we bump into each other very often. I would like to ask a question about South by Southwest that you just mentioned. It's very interesting because we have a very small presence as Indonesians going to South by Southwest. It's a government-sponsored team. So it's very funny while the event is supposed to be like attended by entrepreneurs, creative people, and things like that. But from Indonesia, we do have some people, but it was government-sponsored because it's so far away. It's in America. It's like very far. And we don't have that many global reach kind of entrepreneur, just like what you just mentioned. We're here in a small island in Bali or in Indonesia. I don't know if you know, but we have a lot of islands here, 17,000 of them. And so I would like to know more. You were saying South by Southwest goes to Bali. I was like, wow. So I want to hear more about that.
Okay, so let me just
Thank you.
clear up a few things. It's not the actual brand coming here. It's we creating something that is similar. But we also working on a stage ourselves in South by Southwest next year. So basically, because we also have that problem in Trinidad, and it is also a government-sponsored thing. So it's you choose who you choose. So one of the things that I wanted to do next year, and with the same Jane, who I was talking about earlier, the publicist, she does these events through at South by Southwest, Cannes Film Festival, Art Basel, and so on. So I'll be partnering with her to create an event, a Thrive event in South by Southwest. But in October, we are creating a Thrive Expo here, where we're bringing international speakers, Grammy winners and like dancers for J-Lo and stuff like that, creating a space where like Spotify, YouTube, they're here to actually see how things here could be out there, if that makes sense, and help the connection between, the small island to the international market.
All right, thank you, Ethan.
You know what? So thanks, Ethan. So Oki over here is a brother from another mother, really. I won't go into details, but we mirror each other on so many things. So I would love you, Oki. He has a project called Purpose. He's also going to be a guest pretty soon, actually, aren't you?
Next week.
Next week? That soon is like, should have checked the agenda before I got here, right? Of course I knew it was next week. I forgot. So please explain Purpose, right? I'd love you to, so people get an idea, because that really sums up the soul of who you are, which is completely and totally aligned to this guy too. Right, so yeah, please, Oki, please explain.
Right now?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
right now. Couple of minutes, put you on the spot.
All right, thank you, Rob. So I work for a small investment company called Bali Investment Club here in Bali. Yeah, and then we invest in impact projects. So my background is IT. If you've been to America, I used to work long time ago, about 20 odd years ago, in a company called America Online. I used to work there.
AOL.
Exactly. And then,
Wow.
so when I was doing a lot of impact projects over here, and in the middle of my crypto trading and NFT buying and sell, then I get an idea. Why don't we create a product called Impact NFT, where the money that goes from, instead of going only to the artist, it was meant for the artist and the non-profit organizations. So because there are a lot of non-profit organizations around the world that works for various humanitarian, environmental, social goals and missions. So I created a company called Purpose Art, purpose.art, that's the website. It's sort of like a Tinder for artists and non-profit organizations. So the artist has to like the mission that the NGO provides, and the NGO has to like the artwork. So when there's a match, ching, right? Like the match in Tinder and all the other thing, then you create the project. You create the projects and then you push the NFT. The project will be called the product. I would differentiate my product with the other products, with the other NFT. We call it Impact NFT Series. So then you sell that product to the market, you push it to the market. The money, when they buy the NFT, the money will be split between the artist and the non-profit organization. On the royalty scheme, it's the same. So when people trade the NFT, the money goes back to both the artist and the non-profit. So it's kind of like keep moving and all. Because all these whiles, the $2 trillion worth of crypto wealth that we've seen all this time, mostly is for, unfortunately, that I've seen is only for self-enrichment. I mean, I've seen a lot of people flexing their wealth through their crypto wealth, but I don't see anything that goes to this social causes. So this is what purpose is all about. So we're trying to be the bridge between these NFT boys or NFT fans to sort of like if they want to give back through all these non-profit missions and NGOs by having this purpose project. Yeah, thank you.
Love it, brother. Thank you, my man. Thank you. So we'll pass it on to Carol. And Carol, just before you go, so as you mentioned, Oki will be on next week. Now, he is a phenomenal human being, right? And as you know with the show, as I said at the beginning, it's all about unity and diversity, right? Which is the motto of Indonesia. And Oki, apart from being, a great Indonesian, I love his insights, and we have lots of conversations that we'll get into next week, some of them. But he is an extremely accomplished entrepreneur here in Indonesia, like you wouldn't believe. And what I love about him is that his heart is so connected to what he does. And when you see him and when you speak to him and when I'm getting goose pimples talking about you, make sure your wife's not watching. So why is there goose pimples about you, Oki? But really a beautiful human being. So, come next week, tune in next week, come in person. Like he's a person like this beautiful man here who's extremely valid. And we'll get into so many different things to do with Indonesia and how what Ethan's doing with his platform is about how do we bring people together consistently, co-elevate, co-create, right? That's really what it's all about. And that's really what Speak Up Monday Destination Indonesia is all about. It's about sharing stories from people that you feel who they are. Like I'm touching him now. Harassment. So, but you feel his soul now. Right? Whereas some people here know him but don't know him. And even though he didn't go all the way in, they know him much better now than what they did before. So now they know why he does what he does. It's not an act or something he puts on. It's who he is at his core. Right? And that's the whole point, that we sit here, we have this conversation through one-on-ones, through panel discussions or whatever it might be, but it's about connecting with the heart of what we all share. One person with different unique identities. That's what we are at the end of the day, with different decisions that have led us to different places in our lives. So that's why I love you. I love the people who come on. I love you, the audience, who have come out here to watch us talk for an hour or so. And next week, make sure you tune in with Oki. It's going to be phenomenal, like tonight, in a different way, because every energy is different. The energy we have is different to last week, different to next week, and so on. But these things are always there. People inspire people. Unity and diversity. Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. Probably the only words I can say in Indonesia. But important words. I love them. Oh, I'm getting I'm on fire. Oh, I can feel you heating up. All right. We're going to go to Carol. Over to you, my darling. Any question you'd like to share?
Hi, Ethan.
Hi.
I'd love to know what is one of the most beautiful connections that you've ever made in your life. And by beautiful, I mean a connection that's melted your heart or touched your soul.
It's a hard one. Okay, so how about we take a pause? I mean, I think it's hard because they, each thing is different. Like, I've done events when people come up to me, it's like, oh my God, like the person I wanted to work with is here, now we're going to be working together, whatever. I've had events where, relationships happen. I've had events where, just a lot of opportunities happen for someone. I could say that the event that brought me to Bali definitely changed my life. I'm still here 3 years later. Basically, it was Thrive Exchange, and I had this idea well, through seeing on Facebook a lot of the co-living, co-working monthly retreat things. And I was like, ooh, this is cool. But noticed that everything was for entrepreneurs or digital nomads. So there was a space for creatives. So this was in December 2018. And I was like, I want to do one. So I basically got some stock images, video, created a website. I was like, Thrive Exchange Bali, because everything was pointing to Bali. Went to Google. Google was like, Ubud, Center of Creativity. So I was like, cool, Ubud it is. Went to Facebook. I was like, do I know anyone that's from Bali or live there? A few people got back to me. It's like, here's a driver. Here's an event, location that you could do something, and put together pretty well. And then Fire Festival documentary came out. And basically that shit almost like killed me because everyone was like, is that going to happen? Like, I'll come and see the next one. But basically, I think in a nutshell, like coming to Bali with someone from Trinidad that flew in for the event, people from Dubai that flew in for the event, and each day me meeting awesome people like yourselves, noticing that this is where I need to be. Went back to Geneva, packed up my apartment, came back in 2 weeks, started the company, and here we are. Like, I think if it's something special, it was Thrive Exchange for sure. Yeah.
Beautiful question. Yeah. Thank you,
that
Carol.
answered your question.
Appreciate it. Yeah. And we got one more question from you, Brother Sam. Thank you, my darling. Just mind your step as you go through. So, why Bali, Ethan? Not only that, actually, let's be more direct. So we're all here in Bali and we feel this wonderful energy that Bali has. So maybe the thing that pops into your head, you know, when I say to you, you know, how has being in Bali supported your evolution as a person, as a human being? What would you say?
I mean, for me, it's the openness of the people. Like, I've not been in a place, like I've lived in Dubai, LA, and Geneva. And I've not been to a place where someone actually wants to collaborate, wants to see you succeed, wants to connect you with something without thinking of themselves. I think Bali brings together like certain people, and we all kind of have like the same feeling without saying it out loud. Like, you don't have to be in a booth doing the stuff there to be like, I'm for Bali, you know, like just being able to have certain conversations with certain people and just being so like-minded in some kind of way. That really changed. Also going back to my island roots, you know, I kind of love that. You know, the coconut trees and shit. But definitely, yeah, the people, the spirit. Mama Bali really does keep the right people. And you could see it even around you.
Thank you, my brother. Now, Sam, over to you, my last question.
So I'd like you to share with everyone what's your confirmed next big project, but also the technical side of it, like where do you really want to reach with it? And then the commercial side of it, of how far do you think it can actually get and affect everyone in Bali?
Good question.
A little complicated?
No. He's just thinking about how to formulate the answer. But that was a great question. By the way, Sam is from Dubai. Round of applause, Sam.
Yeah,
right.
So actually, one sec. It's actually funny that he's here because he actually came to one of my first successful events in Dubai 12 years ago. Like, he used to actually party at my events over there, and just timing, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen it all grow.
But I mean, there's multiple projects. That's the other thing.
What's the biggest?
I think the biggest that I would like to really get off the ground is the app platform mixed with the talent agency, because it's tied in. Because connecting people through the virtual world is as important as the real world. Because now you could actually speak to someone in New York and who's a producer, and you could actually make a track over the phone basically. I said it. So I think there's a lot of power in what that could be. We launched one. It's a bit down right now, but I'm looking to reactivate that and connect creatives around the world and allow them to, showcase their talents, make it easier for people to collaborate and find jobs. So I think that's a big, and the impact, especially for people like Trinidad and Bali, being able to connect with people that you won't normally connect with, being from an island. That, I think, is one of the biggest aspects. Because obviously in America, it's a bit easier. But from a small island, if you could connect with someone that is from wherever and they could collaborate with you, something magical could happen that won't have happened before. So that's actually what I want to really get out there. Yeah.
All right, my brother. So now we'll come to the end here. Now, what we usually do is the way we end the show is we leave it to the guest. Anything that's coming up for you that you want to say might be reiterating something you've said already, or it might be something else that you haven't said. Then in about a minute or so, I'll give you the mic, which you've already got in your hand, and then you can kind of round it out for us. So while you think about what that is. So obviously, I just want to thank everybody here. Now, we usually keep this to an hour. I know that we started a little bit late today, and we're probably a little bit over an hour, I think. But usually we keep it to an hour. We're here every Monday, Tropical Nomad at 6:30. Next week is my brother, Oki. And so make sure you're following Speak Up Monday on Instagram, Facebook, but Instagram is probably the easiest one. And join our WhatsApp group, which is where we've got several groups. I think we're up to number 2 or 3, but over here you've got like a little QR code to join if you haven't joined already. And look, share this stuff. So if you hear something that resonates for you, then feel free to act upon it or share it with somebody else. And we will be about to announce pretty soon some international collaborations that we have with Speak Up Monday that will continue to grow it. As I mentioned, we're approaching episode 300. It's been a few. We've got a wonderful co-host now.
Shout out to Rob, though. Almost 300.
Yeah. Come on.
Persistence.
Come on. Come on, people. Let's go. So we have a wonderful co-host, Bhavna Pariha, who gets back. She's been away with her parents who've been here in Bali. So she'll get back next week. I think she's on the week after. And so Bhavna is a great addition. And we'll be having panels. We have the Health Hub Bali panel, which is the future of health, which is the first week of every month. So tune in for that one. Tracy G from Health Hub Bali. And we have a number of really topical issues that we're about to face as a population going forward into the future. And most importantly, act upon the things that you hear. If there's something that was resonated with you, please act upon it, because that's really what it's about. It's actionable motivation, inspiration, actually from the inside out. So, coming to you, Brother Ethan, before I thank Tropical Nomad as well, almost forgot, Itchy, we have Ayu, we have Guzman as well over here.
Always supporting the community.
Always supporting, right? Almost forgot Itchy, sorry. So, one thing though, which just came up, which would be nice maybe if you want to include it in your summing up, how can people contribute to thrive? So that doesn't necessarily mean we want investment, we want this, it can do. But if someone's interested, you mentioned about the creatives, like strategically, what are you missing? Right? And it could be a person, it could be a position, it could be a type of company, right? Because it's all about collaboration, which we haven't gotten into tonight, collaboration. We haven't gone into NFTs, blockchain, all of that stuff, but we can't go through everything. We can do it on another interview. Tonight was really about people getting to know the man behind all of what has come forward already, to get to know you at a slightly deeper level, to connect with you in that way, which I think they have done. But yeah, so if anything like that comes up, what is coming up for you to share to see us out?
Let's start from the back. So basically, in terms of what is needed, I think building the team, because we're still building the team. The getting the right people that have the right skills, when you bring them together, like a lot could happen. So it's more like having passionate people working with me and the team to, you know, go to our goals. With regards to what I want people to take from today, just start. Like, who here has a project or some idea or something that they wanted to start that they haven't as yet? All right. What's yours? Merchandise, cool. And yours? Right. Well, so even that also fit. Like, I had that fear for me because it was more like, oh, you need to have all of this, and then I'll start. But then, like, during the start of COVID in 2020, I decided to do 48 hours of content. Part of that was doing talks with my friends, and it was bad internet connection, bad camera. I almost did not even release it because it just was so bad. But I was like, the content was so good. And I think with everything, just start. You know, like, you won't really know. And they always say it's like you fail, but fail fast. And fail again and be okay. Just get back up. Because when you don't start is when you fail. You know, it's like not doing, it's the worst thing that you could do. Because it's not about regret or anything at that point. It's like you're holding back your gift that you're supposed to give out. And it's like, for why? You know? So yeah, just start. But also build your social capital. Like, your network is your net worth. You know that already. Because when, like, someone next to you right now, you don't know who they are yet in some cases. And it's not like what they could do for me, but it's what you could do together. I think, like, that is also very important. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan Auguste, thank you so much.
By the way, by the way, it's Auguste. It's pronounced Auguste.
Auguste.
Auguste, yeah.
Auguste.
It's French.
So Ethan Gabriel Auguste.
Yeah, Auguste.
Beautiful. All right, that's tonight's show. Now we're going to go to questions.
Huh? Oh.